I don't think this is too shady. I think it's true. The less successful half of a comedy duo that was prolific in the 2010s.
Damn, you was about as subtle as a damn nuclear bomb. A prolific comedy duo in the 2010s. Wow, who else were they gonna say? Yo Gabba Gabba?
Racist against rappers, they all look the same to him. They used to beg him not to egg him on Halloween. He told him holler back with the suede Pumas, Dollar Green. Nah, I mean, heat it up till the temperature tarball. Y'all just gawk like gargoyle.
Yo, welcome back to Reaction Channel, baby. You know, it's been a while since I've reacted to some Patrick CC. It's been like months, bro. Like, I'm not even bullshitting. Anyway, the Key and Peele situation is crazy. So I know I'm late to the party on this. I'm super late on this. I've only heard the murmurs, okay? I just know that something happened and somebody's wife is causing them to split up. That's what I believe at this point in time.
Fans were shocked when Key and Peele abruptly announced that they would be ending their iconic sketch comedy show in 2015. At the time, everyone assumed the duo was simply ready to move on to bigger opportunities, and that was true for one of them. Jordan Peele's Hollywood career skyrocketed, becoming one of the most respected filmmakers in the industry. Keegan-Michael Key, on the other hand, has been jobbing for commercials and insignificant roles in films, which is shocking because Key was always considered the more popular of the two and expected to be more successful in the long run.
That's crazy work. I don't think I've ever thought that way about it. Like, I always seen them as equals, bro. I never thought niggas was thinking, if I was Jordan, I'd be pissed if I heard something like that.
But recently, a comedian who worked closely with Keegan revealed something that completely changed the way fans looked at Key and Peele's relationship. And now many are looking back at awkward interviews, strategic silence, and most importantly, how Keegan's wife may secretly be the reason why the duo feels so distant today.
This is what I've heard. What the helly?
However, there are a lot of baseless rumors and misinformation spreading, as well as important facts we need to dive into before you come to the conclusion of what happened to Key and Peele. Despite the show only running for 3 years, the legacy and impact of Key and Peele cannot be minimized. Just take a look at the Comedy Central YouTube channel. 18 out of their 20 most viewed videos are all Key and Peele sketches.
I've seen people make reaction like video channels where they're reacting to Key and Peele sketches, bro.
Is amassing over 1 billion views just on YouTube alone. Think about all the classic Comedy Central roasts, TV shows, and stand-up specials. None of them can even hold a candle to Key and Peele. But it could not have happened if the two didn't develop a deeply personal connection off screen. They were both raised as biracial children to a black father and a white mother, growing up with the unique identity of being mixed. Sometimes they felt that they were never black enough.
Damn, they had a lot in common. Jesus, I didn't know. I ain't gonna lie, bro. There was a point in time where I thought these niggas were actual brothers. So that was just me being a little kid.
Times they felt they were never white enough and were forced to code switch to assimilate with whoever was in the room. This shared life experience would become central to their comedy and to their chemistry in life in general. After moving from Detroit to Chicago, Keegan-Michael Key crossed paths with Jordan Peele, making the rounds in the local improv comedy scene. The two realized they had incredible synergy, so they started working together and were eventually picked up as writers and talent on the Fox sketch comedy show Mad TV.
Mad?
Anchor is prepared to offer you 300.
What? This nigga is like an alien. What the fuck is this player build?
$50,000.
No deal.
We going for the million, dog. We going for the million. We going for the million. We going for the million. Don't matter what you say, because we going for the million.
The few sketches that they did together on Mad TV displayed their incredible chemistry and indicated that they needed their own show.
What do I always say? Stay on the inside.
Jinx! No backsies, no penny taxis.
What?
You ain't supposed to talk! Jinx! Double jinx! Triple jinx! Googleplex! Damn!
Hey, guys!
Interruptions! Hands up, seas! Jinx! Go away! Come again another day!
Unfortunately,
Was that all unscripted? If that was all unscripted, bro, that's fucking hilarious.
their time on Mad TV was short-lived until the entire program was canceled in 2009.
Damn.
Afterwards, Key landed a supporting role in the short-lived sitcom Gary Unmarried, which was canceled in 2010. Meanwhile, Jordan's pilot for a comedy show titled The Station had been shut down by Fox executives, leaving both of them without work.
Damn.
That's when their shared talent manager suggested that the two get together and try to launch their own project.
So my sitcom got canceled and his pilot for Fox didn't go. And our manager said, would you guys be interested in doing something together? Because I've got a situation that I think I can leverage.
The result of this was them creating their own sketch comedy show called Key and Peele, which was picked up by Comedy Central and slated for a 2012 release. Their series debut came right after the season 4 premiere of Tosh.0, setting the comedy duo up for the biggest opportunity of their careers. And to say they capitalized on it would be an understatement. Two of their most iconic sketches were in the very first episode, starting with a classic where the two attempt to say a forbidden word in regards to their wives, which by the end of this video you'll see how incredibly ironic it is that this was the very first Key and Peele sketch.
I looked this woman in the eye, I said, bitch, you told me 6:45.
You said that.
Yeah, I said,
In the same episode, their next bit was Jordan acting as President Obama giving a speech to the country, and Key acting as
these niggas are fucking hilarious,
his
bro.
anger translator.
That was, you know what? I ain't gonna lie. That was the most whack-ass reactor shit I could have said, bro. I didn't have no type of deeper analysis or nothing. I just said, yeah, these guys are funny. What? Dude, oh my God, bro.
Turning his respectful words into aggressive commands.
I just want to say to my critics, I hear your voices, and I'm aware of your concerns.
so maybe if you can chill the hell out for like a second, then maybe I can focus on some you know?
The show was an
Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was always way more into Chappelle's show and South Park. But the few times I did watch Key and Peele, they did have me laughing, bro.
instant hit. Over 2 million viewers tuned in for the debut episode.
Seeing this makes me miss the days back when, like, you know, you actually had to, like, kind of get on TV. You had to, like, figure out what shows are going to be playing at what time. You know what I mean? Who's gonna take their turn on the TV this time? Man, those were the days, bro.
And future episodes would continue to pull in millions of viewers. But before we get into that, we all live busy lives. There are so many things to do, and it never feels like there's enough time in the day. You should probably go get that yearly checkup to make sure you're in good health, but you don't have the time to sit on hold all day. Today's sponsor, ZocDoc, makes the process a whole lot
We gotta watch the ads, baby. Get your money, man.
easier. ZocDoc lets you search and compare local, in-network doctors with more than 150,000 providers and over 200 specialties across all 50 states. You can view tons of reviews from real patients and detailed doctor profiles to help you choose the right one. ZocDoc lets you see actual appointment openings and click to instantly book a visit. Appointments happen fast, usually within 24 to 72 hours, and you can even score same-day appointments. Best of all, ZocDoc is free to use. Taking care of your health just got easier. Head to ZocDoc.com/PatrickCC to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list.
That's Patrick CC approved.
Straight up.
Every season they put out a new sketch that would become a cultural staple, like the East-West College Bowl, where they poked fun at ridiculous names of college athletes.
Hingle McCringleberry, Penn State University.
Le Carpetron Duke Maria, Florida Atlantic University.
Dinklage Morgoon, University of South Florida.
Speaking of names, we have to mention the substitute teacher bit, where Key cannot pronounce extremely common American names.
So why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron? Because it's pronounced Aaron? Son of a... You done messed up, Aaron!
People still call me Aaron to this day. To this day. They had a way of making relatable humor refreshingly absurd, but I personally liked when they would lean into their ridiculousness a little more. My favorite sketch of theirs is Prepared for Terry's, where the two act as borderline schizophrenics who are trying to convince the passenger next to them that they will protect the entire plane if a terrorist tries to take over.
You're gonna have to be ready to kidnap a Terry. You're gonna have to be ready to charge a Terry. I don't think that's necessary. Absolutely.
Imagine if this black dude was Dave Chappelle, bro. Dude.
Absolutely, you have
Dave Chappelle would kill me.
to fireboard those mother jammers.
And if this is somehow the first time you're ever hearing of Key and Peele, I think the biggest sign of their success and cultural significance is that the literal president of the United States invited Keegan-Michael Key to do a remake of their anger translator bit, but during a real speech.
Because despite our differences, we count on the press to shed light on the most important issues of the day.
And we can count on Fox News to terrify old white people with some nonsense.
In three short years, Key and Peele managed to create a culturally iconic sketch comedy show filled with quotable moments reminiscent of early 2000s comedy films. And since YouTube and social media was on track to replace TV and movie theaters, Key and Peele proved that the future of comedy was in good hands. But then, shockingly, in 2015, Keegan-Michael Key announced that they were ending the show. This is our final season, and it's not because of Comedy Central, it's us. It was just time for us to explore other things, together and apart.
As a kid, I knew that the show had ended, but I didn't know that it was like a big drama about why it ended. I thought it just ended naturally.
Compare it to Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. We might make a movie and then do our own thing for 3 years and then come back and do another movie. Fans were initially disappointed, but in a way, the show lived on much longer than 3 years due to its success on YouTube. Over the
the clips go crazy. People still post Key and Peele skits on like TikTok. It's a formula, bro. Like sketch comedy, like it's made for the internet. There's a reason why a lot of people's first YouTube videos, like a lot of niggas is doing sketch comedy. Like it's just perfect for the internet.
Years, fans would be scrolling YouTube and randomly see a Key and Peele sketch get recommended to them. It could be one they've seen a dozen times or one they didn't even recognize, but if they click, they can get a guaranteed laugh. Plus, in 2016, the duo released their action comedy film, Keanu, seemingly indicated that their future Hollywood careers would be them working side by side.
I didn't even see this movie.
The duo served as both the writers and leading actors for the film, which gave the movie a sense of familiarity for fans of the show. Now, the film was met with a lukewarm response from critics, and it only grossed $20 million in the box office, considering the film's $15 million budget, plus
that means it didn't really make a profit.
The millions of dollars spent on.
Because you gotta make like, I think for most movies, you gotta make like double the budget before you can start considering you making a profit.
On advertising, the movie significantly underperformed. With that being said, the movie wasn't bad, it was just the first step in a new chapter for the comedy duo. But then, Jordan Peele shocked the world with the announcement of his directorial
I ain't gonna lie, bro. He flash fried niggas with this. He went crazy with this.
Real debut psychological horror film, Get Out. The movie followed a young black man named Chris visiting the wealthy white family of his girlfriend, who didn't know.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, you think Key got like felt some type of way about this movie?
That he was black. The family initially appeared to be progressive and accepting towards the boyfriend, but it was awkward. Like they were so eager to express their appreciation for black culture. The family's hired staff to help with their house duties are all black and behave strangely.
I'm already seeing where this is going. Key's wife is white and she got offended by the movie. I already see it. I see it plain as day. I'm calling it right now. No way.
All of their white friends are overly interested in Chris, seemingly obsessing over his black identity. Later, Chris finds out that his girlfriend had been dating black people all of her life, but luring them to her family's estate where they would be hypnotized, psychologically manipulated, and then sold for a sinister procedure. The family would surgically remove the black person's brain and replace them with the consciousness of the aging white clients who wanted to continue living through the younger black bodies. The scariest part is that the victims themselves wouldn't fully die either. Their consciousness would remain trapped deep inside their own minds in what the film calls the sunken place, forced to helplessly watch someone else control their body forever. Jordan was one of the trailblazers in weaving social commentary in a genre film in the 2010s. The film was
fucking cooked like crazy.
Universally celebrated for its terrifying atmosphere, uncomfortably hilarious moments, and unapologetic social commentary. With a $5 million budget, the movie grossed $250 million at the box.
Dude, he did that all for $5 million. Dang.
Box office and received countless awards from various institutions, including the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Overnight, Jordan Peele went from that funny guy from Comedy Central to
like
a legitimately serious creative
director.
mind in the end.
Yeah, that I remember when that happened. I remember that's literally how the public consensus was, because it went from being Jordan Peele, the funny dude, to like Jordan Peele. Now when you talk about Jordan Peele, most people just automatically talking about his movies. Like, they ain't even talking about the Key and Peele stuff.
Entertainment industry. What's interesting is that Keegan-Michael Key was primarily regarded as the heavy hitter of the duo. In 2015 and 2016, Key was nominated for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series at the Emmys. However, Peele was not nominated for the same role. Key also gained his relevancy from his appearance at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, something that Peele was also excluded from. Not to mention that Key received way more acting gigs in major TV shows and movies during Key and Peele's run.
Damn, he was in Pitch Perfect too.
People believed Key would be the more successful of the two, and yet Jordan was now receiving
Jordan, hey bruh, shout out to Jordan, man.
Round of applause, baby, make that ass clap.
I'm not mad at it at all. He put a reversal.
wide praise without Key's involvement at all.
He got, and I think he pretty much knew that that's what everybody was thinking of him, and he decided, bro, I'm finna show y'all niggas something.
Well, that's not entirely true. Keegan-Michael Key is actually a major reason why Get Out got made in the first place.
Were you reading this at all while she was writing? Were you involved in it all?
Yeah. He said I wasn't involved in any of the writing, but he sent me the script, and I remember at one point in time I either wrote him. No, I was in the room, and I came into the office the next day, and I put the script on his desk. I went, ooh, I said this could be something, and then I went and talked to a good friend of mine, Sean McKittrick. I made a movie with Sean McKittrick from QC Entertainment, who made it, and I said, you guys should really read Jordan's script, and then now here we are. And like Sean came to me up to me.
So he's saying he put Jordan on
a party, and he hugged me, and I'm like, why are you hugging me? He's like, you brought the script to me, and I was like, look, but it was amazing. It would have been. I could bring a million scripts to you, but if it wasn't that amazing, who would have made it? It's such a fresh story.
And as if things couldn't get any better for Jordan, he followed up with a producer role on the 2018 film Black Klansman, which also received 6 Academy Award nominations. And in
I forgot he worked on that one, and then he dropped
2019, Jordan continued his reign of dominance as a director with the release of Us, a psychological horror film following a family on vacation that gets terrorized by another family that looks exactly like them. Once again, critics and fans loved it. The film grossed over
$20 million. That's 15 more than the last one.
$250 million worldwide against a budget of only around $20 million, proving Get Out wasn't some lucky one-time success. In just a few years, Jordan Peele,
I'm telling you, when he dropped to Us, bro, it was cemented, man.
Had fully transcended
and then he dropped Nope
comedy and established himself as one of the most commercially successful.
He don't even look like a comedian no more. He literally just looks like a director now.
And critically respected directors in Hollywood. And with every massive success, the gap between him and Keegan-Michael Key only seemed to grow wider. Key stayed consistently busy between 2016 and 2020, stacking dozens of television appearances, voice acting roles, commercials, guest spots, and supporting performances across sitcoms, animated shows, and streaming series. Shows like Modern Family, The Simpsons, Archer, Friends from College, and Green Eggs and Ham.
Damn, what the hell? Yeah, he was everywhere and shit.
Instead of evolving into a singular creative force with a clear artistic identity, Key slowly started feeling more like a talented utility player in Hollywood. He was everywhere, but never the main character. And after Jordan's third directorial release, Nope, in 2022, which was yet another resounding success loved by fans and critics, you could argue that Jordan Peele has completely eclipsed his role in Key and Peele, with his efforts as a horror writer and director becoming the focal point of his legacy.
Shout outs to him for real, bro.
The same cannot be said for Key, as many still remember him primarily as the guy from Key and Peele. I think it's interesting that Key is doing commercials that show up on Hulu, and Peele is one of the driving forces of cinema.
Dude, I hope and pray Key was not reading these comments, man, because that would, like, imagine being Key and you're reading people basically clocking your whole career, bro. Damn.
I kind of hate comparing them because Key is also incredibly talented, but Peele is truly on another level. And while they may have grown apart in the public eye, very few question the legitimacy of their friendship behind the scenes. And that's because they did things like joining forces in a Netflix animated film called Wendell and Wild, where Jordan and Keegan serve as voice actors for two of the primary characters. And although the animation was captivating, many fans felt disappointed in the story. The duo also teamed up in Toy Story 4 to play side characters Ducky and Bunny. People had assumed that because they did these collaborations that everything was all good between them. But Key would speak on this directly during an interview in 2024. We don't see each other that often anymore, which is, to me, a tragedy. Key went on to explain in a separate interview that them living far apart from each other played a major factor in their estrangement. Whenever we have an opportunity to see each other, we do. Whenever we have an opportunity, I certainly enjoy spending time with him. So when my travels take me to Los Angeles, he's usually one of the first calls that I make. I land and I go, "Hey buddy, we're in town." And often we get to have dinner. Our relationship is like a good friend's relationship, where you pick up where you left off, or the little things that you shared in the past, you just go right back into it again. I look forward to seeing him in 2025.
That nigga was over here scheduling friendships. But nah, I mean, it kind of happens to a lot of people though. Like, you know, as you get older, you get more responsibilities. You can't really hang out with your boys as much. He's making it sound like he's lucky to see this man once a year or something. That's like, that's different. That's a little bit different. Like, I know about low maintenance friends, but damn. Like once a year maybe is crazy.
What's interesting is that Jordan Peele gets interviewed way more than Keegan because he's way more active and front-facing in Hollywood, and yet he has said literally nothing about his former comedy partner, which creates the appearance that Jordan Peele has moved on while Key continues to live in the past. Like when Key was asked about a Key and Peele reunion, and he said, "Right now we're expressing ourselves that way." And
dude, yeah, I would hate that because does anybody even bother asking Jordan about Key and Peele?
I think we'll find ourselves back together. I do not have a timeline for that, but I would jump at the chance to work with him again in any capacity. Fans had no reason to believe that there was any bad blood between them. Maybe they had simply grown apart naturally over time, but that assumption started falling apart after a comedian who worked closely with Keegan publicly shared a story that completely changed the way people looked at Key and Peele's relationship. In April of 2026, comedian Akilah Hughes shared her experience working with Keegan Michael Key using the not-so-subtle code names of Locke and Banana.
He is, and I don't think this is too shady, I think it's true, the less successful half of a comedy duo that was prolific in the 2010s.
Damn. Girl, you was about as subtle as a damn nuclear bomb. A prolific comedy duo in the 2010s. Wow. Who else were they gonna say? Yo Gabba Gabba? Come on, bro.
Perhaps, you know, I think their code names could be Locke and Banana.
She also tweeted, "If you ever wondered why K and PEL don't work together anymore, watch the next video in this thread." So there's absolutely
damn, she was ready to expose somebody.
No confusion in regards to who this story is about. Akilah got connected with Keegan Michael Key while developing her own sketch comedy show, not necessarily for his creative input, but because she needed an established celebrity attached as an executive producer to help make the project more attractive to networks and studio executives.
So she just wanted to use this nigga.
Which is very common in the industry. But with
yeah, it's common, but damn, if he thought it was something else, then that's just kind of like, you're kind of using them.
Keegan came his wife, Elle Key, who supposedly wiggled her way to an executive producer role for the show.
My agent at the time calls me and she goes, "How is pitching going? How do people feel about Locke?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, they love him. Everybody loves Locke." And she's like, "That's great, that's great. How do they feel about his wife, who is now somehow the executive producer on my show?" And I'm like, you know, I hadn't really thought about it. I don't.
Damn, was this supposed to be a comedy night or like a vent session? Like, where's the joke at? This just make me pissed off.
On my show. And I'm like, you know, I hadn't really thought.
Look, everybody stop playing
About it. I don't think people like her very much.
But the strategy was effective. Having Keegan on as a producer landed them an official offer from Disney. Then one day,
what show is she talking about?
Peele was contacted by Jordan Peele's wife, Chelsea Peretti, warning her about Keegan's wife and her involvement.
What? She says, I'm just calling you because I wish someone would have warned me. She does about an hour of a monologue at me about how, she thinks that his wife is like Phil Hartman's wife. That she wouldn't...
I don't know what that means.
...trust her to hold a baby.
Damn.
That she once poured alcohol on her birthday cake and this person is sober. And she says, there's no accounting for how much money she's cost that black man.
Despite the warning, Akilah continued working with them. After all, she had quit her job and moved to LA to chase this dream, but it proved to be a mistake. Apparently, Elle, who, remember, was not ever asked to be a part of this show, continued to insert her unwanted opinions in the writer's room.
Her notes are, comedy happens in threes. The letter K.
Oh, nah, bro. I would be crashing out. I ain't gonna lie. Somebody feelings would have got hurt. Now, on my show, if I'm tossing everything to the wind and I'm putting this 100%, yeah, nah, bro. You're not weaseling nowhere.
Is funny. And finally, give the audience some candy. Now, how do you implement these notes?
Like, actually?
None of the writers thought her ideas were good or funny, so they were ignored, to which Elle responded by threatening to sue the network.
Wow.
Akilah doesn't add much context here, but she is trying to make the accusation that Elle was just trying to ruin the project since it wasn't going her way. As a result,
that's crazy. Yeah, you ain't gonna lie, you'd have to see me. You have to meet me outside. Ain't no damn
show
way.
Was stalled and eventually was canceled altogether.
And so that is just a project that I could not talk about, that was never announced, that was supposed to be my dream.
Now, first of all, there weren't many jokes in Akilah's performance. The inclusion of the live band made this some kind of exaggerated live podcast gossip story time session.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It didn't seem all that funny.
So it couldn't exactly be brushed off as, oh, well, it's just a joke. And even though all of the details Akilah shared are incredibly vague, it's unlikely she would create a 12-minute story of completely baseless lies.
Explaining the gap in my resume.
Especially considering the allegations aren't really that scathing. Like the idea of established Hollywood celebrities derailing a dream project for an upcoming creator because it didn't go their way sounds like something that happens every day in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's why there was a point in time where I wanted to be an actor, and yeah, hell nah. I am good. The horror stories I've heard about Hollywood, just the griminess, the sliminess. Yeah, nah, bro. I ain't no way I could legitimately do that. I'd rather just take the energy that I was about to put into acting and put it into YouTube, because I ain't finna go out there and get slimed out by some fucking Hollywood E-sex. Got me fucked up.
It would. But it was this small added detail at the very end of Akilah's performance that has completely changed people's perspective of Keegan-Michael Key.
He never gets to be himself in public, and his partner has won Oscars. And everyone knows that his wife has ruined his career. It is diminishing returns. He's doing insurance commercials.
After she said that, sensationalized headlines emerged from Akilah's performance. This
is another thing I can't stand about celebrity gossip. The gossip. Like, I hate how some people overblown situations that in reality I probably wouldn't give a damn about. I just couldn't get over these damn headlines. You know how whenever you're at the checkout of a grocery store and you see they got that rack, they got the candy, the gum and all that, and on the top of the rack there be the magazines. I look at the magazine, it'd be like, Taylor Swift has this to say about her baby daddy. Like, nigga, I don't give a damn. Let me be honest. What the hell? You know what I'm saying? If it's not grand enough to end up on my FYP naturally, bro, I don't give a fuck about it.
Straight up.
says she knows exactly why Key and Peele don't work together anymore. Key's crazy wife destroyed Key and Peele, and while Akilah never said it directly, fans jumped to conclusions that Key and Peele had been driven apart by Key's annoying and power-hungry wife.
I can see that.
And there is actually a little bit of evidence to back up those claims. 8 months before this story blew up, a blind item emerged about Key's wife. Personally, I happen to know that L. Key IRL is a massive narcissist and straight up abusive to the working people in her vicinity. She's using Keegan's talent, fame, and likability to get herself in the room, in front of cameras, a microphone, calls herself a producer or director, and cuts a paycheck. Obviously, she needs to use Keegan because she has no talent or skill sets of her own to stand out without him. Everyone close to him who cares about him sees the abuse and wishes he'd leave her. And while this might sound...
That's crazy. That is wild, bro. Jesus. Yeah, I really hope this nigga wasn't looking at the Reddit, bro. I'm talking, this is crash out. You said what about my wife? Like, golly, bro. I'd rather you just call my wife a bitch. This is like manipulative, narcissistic. Sound like she need to be up there with damn Lex Luthor. I mean, Hannibal Lecter.
Close to him who cares about him sees the abuse and wishes he'd leave her. And while this might sound like even more gossip, this allegation holds weight with a little more factual context. Elle Key, whose real name is Elisa Pugliese, was an aspiring actress who couldn't land anything more than being an extra with no lines or no significance to the plot. From there, she transitioned to being a producer for small-time, low-budget independent drama films that had an extremely small or no
and now I'm seeing Brain Games 2020
theatrical release. She met Keegan at a film festival in early 2016 and became his quote business partner. Eventually, Elle and Keegan's relationship turned romantic and they got married in 2018. So for all the rumors saying that she is the reason why the Key and Peele show ended are just false. The show ended in 2015 and she didn't come into the picture until over a year later. Now,
okay.
The rumors saying
honestly, I wasn't even thinking that. Like, as I was learning this in real time, I was just assuming that she was tripping about the movie. I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Was it Yoko Ono?
Saying that she might be the reason why they didn't continue working together, well, that's entirely different. What you'll notice is that as Elle became more present in Keegan's career, Jordan started becoming more distant. Because remember, Keegan and Jordan worked together in 2022 on that animated show, but shortly after, everything changed. And it all centers around a book that Keegan and Elle co-authored called The History of Sketch Comedy, a journey through the art and craft of humor, which by the way is everyone's favorite subject, comedians talking about comedy. Well, one comedian at least. This book discusses subject matter that Keegan-Michael Key is undoubtedly an expert in, and aptly features him on the cover. They also created a podcast alongside this book. The credits describe Elle as the...
Who is actually like listening to a podcast about a book that a comedian wrote? That's all ties to dedication.
Creator, writer, and director, whereas Key is simply just a performer and co-writer. To be clear, Elle Key has essentially no experience in sketch comedy and has literally never said anything funny in her entire life.
Damn.
The idea that one of the greatest sketch comedy masterminds was portrayed as second fiddle to his wife in a podcast about sketch comedy was mind-boggling to say the least.
If Keegan don't let his nuts hang, man, ain't nobody gonna tell me something.
Project was well received. They won a Webby Award for Best Writing in a Podcast.
I've never heard of that.
And accepting, Elle gave a 5-word long speech that she couldn't do without crying, and Keegan did not get to say anything.
Find someone who inspires you.
I would crash out.
They also did an interview on Late Night with Stephen Colbert where she sat first chair next to the host and Key was off to the side as if she was the guest and he didn't belong. Now,
damn. Y'all really hate her, bro. I never would have thought that if I just watched that like on my own. Some people really be having their third eye open, but I don't be knowing that much about celebrities.
To some, it seems like Keegan is merely being a respectful and generous husband, using his status to elevate his wife and portray her as his equal.
I think we both
discovered that if we work on something together, it's better. Is that?
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Yeah.
But to others,
I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of crazy. Even as like a supporting like husband, and I'd be like, nah. I mean, I think we both have our talents.
based on Akila's story, they see her as manipulating and forcing her way into creative spaces she otherwise would have never been a part of. Keegan's wording in this interview is particularly interesting. At first, he comes off endearing, but he also inadvertently admits that his wife uses him to advance her own career.
As you said, all good doors like lead to Al and her opening that.
Yeah, she opened. Yeah, it's like I'm the key, and she knows where the doors are. So you just have to have the courage to put the key in the door. It's always wonderful you have someone in your life who can show you where the doors are.
But it goes one step further.
That is strange. I don't know about that.
Because it seems like Keegan has adopted the stereotypical wife guy personality, similar to Will Smith or Akash Singh, where the
it never goes well.
The central focus of his identity is surrounding his less famous and less successful partner. Backstage at Stephen Colbert, they did one of those classic couples games where they see if they know each other really well, only for Key to completely second guess himself or outright say his wife was right every time they had opposing opinions.
Who said I love you first?
You ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1. Huh.
Oh. Okay. I guess it was me.
To some, he is just
I wouldn't air that.
Just being sweet. To others, he looks pathetic.
When you're putting everything together like this, bro. Get up, Keegan! Get up!
Like when Keegan was asked what he was most proud of in his entire career, then changed his mind to what his wife said should be his most prideful moment.
What is Keegan's proudest accomplishment? I think this is it. Ready?
She's gonna be right. And
3, and you're gonna be.
If you can believe it, I'm going to be wrong.
3, 2, 1.
She's right.
And if that
White House court
2, 1.
correspondence. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, she might actually be unironically right about this though. Like, I think the White House was more, was more impactful than hosting Saturday Night Live. I didn't even know he hosted. In Saturday Night Live. I didn't even know that.
She's right.
And if that didn't convince you, there's another moment where the 50-year-old man says his wife even picks out his clothes because he can't do it.
Impeccably attired. I want to know what percentage of this is your choice versus your wife's choice. Because I know that your wife, Al.
Look, yes, my wife, Elle,
She's here.
Is here. She is here. She's
Here
right
she
over here.
is.
Yes.
Why he looks so terrified?
Your wife's choice. Because I know.
It looked like she was about to confront him about his wife.
Your wife, Al.
She's like, I know your wife. Does she let you do anything? Like, I thought she was about to hit him with one of those.
Look, yes,
Kelly
my wife,
and
Elle,
Ryan show.
is here. She is here.
Why did he look so scared?
Here she is.
Yes. My wife, Elle, has impeccable taste. So I'm one of those people who likes to leave things to the experts. So everything on my body was chosen for me today to wear by Elle.
He seems
I ain't gonna lie, bro. You should pick the next one.
to seek validation from his wife for literally everything, constantly looking at her to assure that he is saying the right thing.
Sometimes it's a challenge. Sometimes.
What happens if he's saying the wrong thing? Like, is she gonna like jump out and bite you?
I meet her with a little bit of resistance, or
She do be staring him down. Like, she's making sure, don't you mess up, honey. Like, what is she about to do? Bite his nose off?
a little bit, a lot of resistance, some resistance. So,
and she always remains patient with me.
The wife guy personality is often looked at as some sort of humiliation.
I ain't gonna lie, Patrick. You got me completely convinced his wife is a succubus, man. I ain't gonna lie. That was the wrong button. You know what, bro? sometimes I just want to unplug my
ritual because they publicly have to lower their own status and derive all of their self-worth around how lucky they are to be married to their wives. And although all of this can come across as completely cringe, it doesn't necessarily prove that Elle wedged herself between Keegan and Jordan Peele. TMZ reported that multiple sources connected to Keegan-Michael Key and Elle tell TMZ Akila's stand-up narrative is outlandish and fabricated nonsense. Akila fired back by posting screenshots of DMs, all entirely anonymous, of people trying to corroborate the narrative that Elle is a control freak. We had a whole fake...
Damn. Imagine having a mob of people like gathering together to all say, your wife is terrible. I'd be out the window.
Script on set as a decoy to keep her busy and manipulate her while we shot the actual commercial. She kept his own mother and brother from their wedding and systematically cut everyone who was close to him out of his life.
Jesus.
So Locke was my godfather growing up and was best friends with my mother all through college, so he had a huge impact on my life until he remarried his now wife. She completely changed him and the way he treated close family and friends. Not too long after he remarried, he cut off my mom and even his own family in a way.
That is insane.
It seems that people have entirely bought into the narrative that Keegan was this innocent comic legend whose career and friendship with Jordan Peele has been destroyed by his egomaniac wife who has to control every little thing about him.
But that's not the entire story, is it?
But not many people are willing to cast blame on Keegan himself, who seems to admit that he didn't know his own potential, didn't believe in himself, and even can't dress himself. Sure, you could call it pathetic, but maybe this guy genuinely would not have pursued anything after Key and Peele if it wasn't for his wife.
He could have been just that type of nigga that was like, he felt directionless.
I saw a video of him singing, and I was like, oh, he can really sing. I mean, this is amazing. He said he was like a sports car that's stuck in traffic. Like, he has all of this power and all of this energy, and like, what is he doing with it?
That's the best analogy.
Why aren't you out there going 120 miles an hour? Like, why are you stuck where you are?
Since people were
That's crazy.
Introduced to Keegan and Jordan as a comedic pair with incredible chemistry, it made fans assume that they were inseparable best friends off screen. So when Jordan became a successful director and Keegan didn't ascend in his career, it felt...
People thought it was weird. They were like, damn, I thought rising tide raises all ships.
Felt like there had to be some deeper reason, as if they weren't always just two individuals with separate career aspirations. People needed something or someone to blame to justify their career imbalances. El Key became the simple answer to a complicated story, but Jordan Peele's strategic silence on all of this leaves so much room for speculation. Until Jordan comes out and says all these rumors are baseless lies and that he and Keegan are still great friends, people are gonna run with the narrative that El Key is to blame for all of this.
I don't know what I would do if I was Jordan. I think I would stay quiet. Because if she really is like that, and that's kind of like the public narrative going, I'm not gonna like say anything because the narrative is correct. That's only if it's correct. You know what I'm saying? If it's not right and she's getting unfairly attacked, then yeah, I would have been stepped down and said something. But the fact that he hasn't said anything, you know what I'm saying? I think that's basically him saying, look, I ain't gonna say y'all wrong, but I'm not gonna sit here and, you know, substantiate your beliefs.
If anything, Key and Peele is a reminder that sometimes your favorite duos aren't best friends, but rather just co-workers who happen to make magic together for a brief moment in time. It reminds me a lot of Drake and Josh, who appeared to be best friends on screen, but behind the scenes was an entirely different story.
Yeah, I remember that. That's one that I know. Yeah, man. Shout out Patrick CC. Look, he is the GOAT for a reason, man. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoy and y'all have a beautiful day.